Bend the knee!
Valamogolas, everybody. This is Don Willie, back again for another edition of Epic Battles of Ice and Fire. And today, I'm here at the southernmost border of the North to bring you another great battle between two very skilled competitors. In this corner, we have one of the Iron Reavers, one of the baddest men in the story. Currently, he is one of the few magical characters in our story, and oh boy, I can't wait to see him go to work in the Winds of Winter. We have Victarion Greyjoy versus one of the most legendary fighters to come out of this story, period, point blank. Lord Commander of the Kingsguard for Robert Baratheon for nearly 20 years, the guy who saved Aerys Targaryen single-handedly from Duskendale. Man, oh man, Sir Barristan Selmy. Now, because Sir Barristan is such a renowned fighter, I've actually given him a little bit of a handicap and decided I'm gonna make him the pre-Robert Baratheon Kingsguard Barristan fighting against our current Victarion Greyjoy, just to kind of even things up a bit. And to help me out here, we have the Kraken himself. That's right, get hype. My man Don The Kraken Witt is here to help me out with this one. So, Kraken, take it away.
Victarion comes from one of the oldest houses in Westeros, and also this oldest house also has a very cruel god. These Ironborn are very savage people, from their Reavers to their Salt Wives to the Rock Wives, etc. They're so crazy, they even have a game, it's called the Finger Dance, where they throw weapons around, and if you lose, you might lose a finger or two. Victarion is also an amazing captain with excellent skills with a single-handed axe large enough to get it stuck in people's bodies. He fights in a very berserk manner. Take an example from the Game of Thrones show, Sir Bronn. He fights in a very unconventional, wild manner. In the books, in A Feast for Crows, we also see Victarion, he catches a blade into his own hand and is able to rip it out of a knight, Sir Talbot Seri. He was also the man that threw the first torch to burn down the fleet of Lannisport. I also want to talk about Victarion's size. He is a very, very large man. He's one of the biggest guys we see in the story. When they rescue Makuro and they give him clothes, Victarion is the only person on board who is able to provide these clothes. Crossing into the realm of sci-fi with Victarion Greyjoy, after he meets Makuro, and Makuro fixes his fist. It turns it into a lava fist, if you could say. When he cracks his knuckles, it breaks the skin and it smokes. And that makes him one of the few people in this story that actually have magical properties. That's kind of a unique feature. We also see him use this fist to strangle a maester and watch his throat and face melt. This man also claims the Red God of R'hllor and the Drowned God. Now, I want to bring up a couple of weaknesses of Victarion, and this is a widely accepted views of this man. I agree with a few of these. He's very stubborn. He's a stubborn guy. George even said that he was more or less a blunt object and a dullard. A lot of people widely agree that he is actually kind of stupid, but I do not think that he is stupid in warfare, and he knows how to fight. It's also believed that he is easily manipulated.
So we have Barristan the Bold, and we know why they call him Bold. This is the guy who saved Aerys II single-handedly from Duskendale. This is the guy who's been Lord Commander of the Kingsguard for nearly 20 years, and even after he was dismissed by Joffrey Baratheon, gave up his armor and his sword he still was able to take out 2 members of the Kingsguard single-handedly with nothing but a dagger. Jaime talks about him being a great knight and one of the greatest swordsmen in the kingdoms. You know he's going to have a horse. He's good when it comes to single-handed combat. He's good when it comes to dealing in melee situations with more than one competitor, as we saw with him versus the Kingswood Brotherhood. And let's not forget, this is the guy who slayed Meleys the Monstrous, bringing to an end, once and for all, the Blackfire Rebellions. But his 2 biggest weaknesses at this point in time for him, being a younger version of himself, would have been lack of experience with fighting guys like Victarion, and also maybe gun shy because of Victarion's magical properties. But also another deficiency of his is that he is a very honorable man, and he probably wouldn't use some of the same dirty tricks as somebody like Victarion would. But we'll have to see how it all plays out when these 2 are actually face to face. So, Don the Kraken Witt, why is it that you think that Victarion would reign victorious, that's the pun there, in this contest against young Sir Barristan the Bold?
All right, well, thanks, Don Willie. I am happy to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm real glad you asked me about Victarion. This should be very interesting. I think we've come to a point with Victarion to where his I don't care is kind of out the window. He's getting a little bit more brutal and savage every time that we see him. His character progression from being an awesome fighter, a great captain, some pretty epic fighting scenes that we actually get in the book. One of the few, he's a berserk kind of man. He's very large, and like you said, he does have the magical properties, and we don't really know what they entail, but your imagination kind of goes wild. We were talking about before Victarion maybe being able to slash away weapons with his new fist. They quoted it felt stronger than it ever had, and how strong is it now? We really don't know. But his physical prowess, his intimidation factor, also his fighting style, I think it would be enough to overcome Sir Barristan, even young. There would be a fear factor, I believe, but also he's a pretty savage guy. He's not willing to take a blow. He could get hit somewhere on his body, but he does wear full plate armor. He could take advantage of Sir Barristan, just bully up to him, as George said in the books.
Well, listen, all that may be true, but we are talking about a dimwit. I mean, the way that people talk about him, you would think that he's only one step above being Hodor.
Well, that's in kind of a political / relationship aspect, and him, I guess interacting with other people. I think it's kind of made to say to where he's socially awkward. I think that's what George is trying to say. But him being socially awkward or not knowing how to deal with the political things that are going on or individual relationships in his life, I don't think that inhibits his fighting style for an epic battle whatsoever.
Listen, at the end of the day, yes, that may not inhibit his fighting prowess, right? But I think the man might be easily distracted. And Barristan is a man who, look, think about it. He was able to sneak into Duskendale and rescue King Aerys single-handedly. So we're talking about a guy who knows about stealth and also probably know about how to create a good enough distraction. And I think it could be possible that even though Barristan might be scared just a tad bit. I don't think he would show the fear, but I think he would be able to find a way to distract Victarion. I mean, the Lava Fist is already distracting enough, but he would try to find some way for that to turn the tables on Victarion and his whole, He-Man, I have the power of fist going on right now.
All right, now, mind you, this distraction cannot fall beneath his knightlyhood and his honor in the way that Sir Barristan would fight. Okay, so there's not a whole lot that he would be able to do to quote unquote distract him. Now, he could distract him in a fighting manner, like you thought I was gonna juke, but I actually jibed on you, real quick. Maybe something like that, but I don't think he would do something dirty. I don't think he would do anything dirty against Victarion.
Yeah, so we already know that Victarion is the dirtiest of them all.
Yes, he is, yes.
Which is why his brother sent him away. It's like, hey, listen, you go do my dirty work for me, because you are dirty.
You dirty, dirty man. Just because you're in the King's Guard, let's even take a younger Sir Barristan, his honor and everything, being in the King's Guard, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, like, Sir Barristan himself, did kill, a couple of them with just a dagger, but like, think about the greatest swordsman ever, Sir Arthur Dane. He was killed by Captain Emo and his trusty companion, Frog Boy. Just because you're the greatest fighter ever doesn't mean that you can't be beat. Doesn't mean you can't be killed.
Listen, you know what? You're talking about a guy who, until he got his fire hand, was scared of his big brother, because he took his wife from him, and he was too scared to go and get her back. But, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, is he really, truly a match for Barristan at any age? I mean, yeah, he's big, but, so was Grandin. Remember what they called Grandin? RX. Big and stupid. This guy is one bump on the noggin away from being Hodor. Seriously, man. I mean, you still got some convincing to do there, Kraken.
I think he's shown that he's not that dumb in later installments of Victarion. He's come up with a way to get the hell horn blown without killing people. He's devised a plan for that. He's also devised a plan to infiltrate Marine, Trojan horse style. He's shown a way to just prove that he's not as stupid as everybody thinks. Like I said, my personal opinion, he does lack social skills. I don't think he's as stupid as everybody believes, but that's just me. But I do want to tell you one thing. There's a quote that Jorah told Daenerys, and it goes like this: Rhaegar fought valiantly, Rhaegar fought nobly, Rhaegar fought honorably, and Rhaegar died.
Wow. Well, you know what? That is absolutely true. And I mean, even though Barristan is the greatest fighter, he actually was wounded during the Battle of the Trident. But remember, Robert respected him so much that he actually had his maester patch him up. And after things were said and done, where he could have either executed Barristan or let him remain, he could have executed him, he could have exiled him to the wall, he could have done many things, but he decided to make him the Lord Commander of his King's Guard.
It's very true.
Now, as I've stated with Barristan's weaknesses, I do think that a man waving a flaming fist at him might unnerve him a bit, which Hey, listen, if I see someone coming at me with a flaming fist, whether I got on armor or not, yeah, I'm gonna be, kind of thinking twice about this battle, and it could be that he decides, you know what, I want to try to live to fight another day because, yeah, there might be a possibility he may not be able to kill Victarion. Doesn't mean he's not going to try.
All right, so can I just end on one more quote, and then I will leave the time to take its course with this one, okay?
Okay.
All right, this is a quote from Asha. It says, "What the Kraken grasped, it does not lose, be it Longship or Leviathan." Drops mic. I'm out.
Oh, wow. That is a very convincing argument. And it has convinced me enough that I think these two will probably wind up fighting to stalemate.
It's a draw!
Yeah, while in normal circumstances, I could see it, probably being Barristan as the winner. I'd say under these particular circumstances, being a less battle-hardened Barristan Selmy with less experience, I think the primary thing that he might be thinking is, let me get the hell out of here, and I'll try to find a way to kill that thing later. Because at this point, Victarion is not really a man anymore. He's a thing. Yeah.
I completely agree about the draw. I also, talking about doing this video, just old school Sir Barristan versus, Victarion at his peak, which is now, versus the actual fight that may happen. It might happen in a win's a winner. It was just really a draw for me. I actually gave young Barry the victory against Victarion, but I give old Barry the death against Victarion. So that's how it's a draw for me. But do you think, Don Willie, that we may actually see Sir Barristan and Victarion fight in a win's a winner?
I actually would love to see that, and I think that we should probably do a follow-up, especially after the Winds of Winter comes out. Whenever the Winds of Winter comes out. If they fight, just to see how it went down. If they don't fight at all, we'll talk and just see how things would have went down if they actually would have fought in the ring at the battle.
Now, I know. You guys are out there screaming at the top of your lungs, how is this possible? What were you guys thinking? You've betrayed us. Again, remember, Sir Barristan is working with a bit of a handicap. He hasn't dealt with any magical characters in the story. He's a little younger, and even though he may be bold, experience is where he would be lacking in this particular bout. So don't think it's a thing of me just trying to have a draw for the sake of a draw. Look, you know what? It could have went either way, but for this particular one, I thought that, the priority for Barristan would be to live to fight another day. And like I said in the discussion with the Kraken, we are going to do a follow-up to this one to see who would actually survive in this one-on-one matchup, not just who might live, who might die, and are they gonna get to do this again? Next time, it's for real. Somebody is not walking out of that one. But again, thank you to my man, Don The Kraken Witt. You guys are great. Man, oh man, I love doing these. And you already know the deal. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, come back for more. That's been my time. This is Don Willie saying, Valor the Harris.